Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to take a little time and talk to you about standard capacity magazine bans, or high capacity magazine bans, as the politicians like to call them. Of course, they consider most standard capacity magazines as being high capacity. Now, the reason I want to talk about this today is because a lot of you may be aware we are facing such a ban here in the state of Washington. Senate Bill 5078, I do believe it is in the Senate right now. And if you are on the mailing list for the NRA, you probably received an email today saying that it's been amended to include preventing people from buying, owning, transferring, blah, 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 high capacity magazines. In quotation marks. Any magazine that has more than 10 rounds, basically, is what the bill would do. Well, the NRA is not correct. They didn't amend the bill to say that. The bill has said that all along. That was the whole point of the bill. They did do some amendments to the bill, but it was legalese stuff. It's almost like the NRA doesn't know what they're talking about, and they just want you to send them money. Don't send the NRA money. If you want to fight the fight in Washington, contact Sporting Systems in Vancouver. They'll tell you how you can get involved without having 90% of it siphoned off by the NRA. But like I said, I wanted to talk about today because they said that it had been amended and it's going to go to the floor any day now. Well, like I said, that's not true. It hasn't been amended. It was always like that. It was always a standard capacity magazine ban limit because it considers anything with more than 10 rounds, high capacity. We all know that most of the biggest selling guns in the United States hold more than 10 rounds. A lot of them hold 15, 20. So basic standard capacity magazines for the vast majority of guns sold today would be outlawed in the state of Washington if this passes. But like I said, I want to give you an update on where it's at. Right now, this bill is still in committee, and so is the companion bill in the House that they passed. They're both still sitting in committee. They haven't gone out to the floor for a vote yet. That could happen at any time, but if it does happen, I will let you know. Trust me. I won't let that go by. This is a bill that I vehemently oppose, so I will let you know if it ever comes out of committee and if it's ever going to go to a vote. You'll see me talking about it a lot in my live chats, and you'll see me making videos about it. But for now, it's still in committee. So right now, we just have to play the waiting game. Not much we can do except for contact your senators, and we all know how much good that does, actually. So right now, we're just going to sit and wait, and I will let you know if we need to do more. But I wanted to talk about another aspect of the bill today, because a lot of people have said, oh, this is them wanting to disarm the people by trying to pretend like higher capacity magazines are linked to violent crime. And we all know that that's not true. There's absolutely no link between higher capacity magazines and violent crime. In fact, it's the opposite. There's lots of actual real world evidence that magazine bans do nothing. Capacity limits do nothing to affect violent crime. So obviously, politicians wouldn't lie to us, because if they were trying to say that's what this was about, that would be a lie. So when they say that this is about safety, because that's what they say in the bill, this is a bill about gun safety and people being safe. Well, they obviously, like I said, couldn't be saying that we're safer if we have lower capacity magazines because higher capacity magazines, somehow facilitate more violent crime. So they must be saying something else, because we know the politicians wouldn't lie to us. They just care about us. So what I have figured out is what they must be saying, since they're so honest and they care about us as people, and they would never try to disarm us for no reason other than disarming us, they must be saying that most of these higher capacity guns are 9mm, and they don't want us carrying 9mm for our own safety. What they're saying is, hey, if we limit you to 10 rounds, you'll make better decisions. You'll carry like an 8-round .357 Magnum revolver, or a 6-shot .44 Magnum revolver. Or at the very least, if you're going to stick with a semi-auto, you'll go get something in 10mm. If you're only going to have 10 rounds, it might as well be 10 potent rounds, rather than trying to squeeze 15 inferior 9mm into a gun. So that must be what they're trying to do. They must just be trying to make us all carry better calibers. Because like I said, they wouldn't lie to us. and they obviously care about us. So they're doing this out of love, apparently, and they want us to carry better guns, revolvers, 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, or at least a 10 millimeter semi-auto. And I agree with that sentiment, but I don't agree with the methods they're going about to do it. The methods they're using to go about making you make that decision. I don't agree with making people make good decisions by outlawing the bad decisions. There are going to be some people that are going to make bad decisions and carry 9 millimeter. We just have to be prepared to protect them if we have to. Or just say, well, that was their fault. They chose to carry 9 millimeter if they get into a bad situation. But you can't make people make good choices by outlawing the bad choices. So I don't agree with this at all. Even if, like I said, since they're so honest, they're really just trying to get us to carry more potent calibers. All right, with that being said, I want to move on here, and I want to go on to a little segment I call Yankees 2 cents, where I answer a question from a viewer that actually has nothing to do with anything we normally talk about. And what I want to answer today kind of does have something to do with what we normally talk about, because we talk about the First Amendment a lot. And they're asking me, what do I think of the whole Joe Rogan situation? Should he be taken off of Spotify? Should he be silenced? Isn't that a violation of his First Amendment rights? Well, first off, it's not a violation of his First Amendment rights. It's a private company. They can have him on there if they want to or not, but I do believe they have a contract with him. Of course, I'm sure that in their contract, they're allowed to remove any offensive material they want, so they can do what they want to do. But as far as the whole Joe Rogan thing, do I think he should be censored because he spreads misinformation? I've always found about Joe Rogan that he seems to spread whatever information the person in front of him wants to spread. He very much takes the approach of, as the interviewer, he's not going to have any influence on what's being said, and he'll usually agree with them. I've seen him change his opinion on gun rights from left to right. He's changed his opinions on vaccines. He's got statements where everyone should get the vaccine, and then contrary statements to where vaccines don't work, But, it's everybody out there's job to be an educated consumer when it comes to news and information. Whenever you hear anything, if you disagree with it, try to disprove it. And if you agree with it, try harder to disprove it. And then if you can't, then you might be right in your opinion. And I say, same thing with Joe Rogan. He shouldn't be silenced. He should be allowed to say what he wants to say. And it should be up to you whether you think he's a good source of information or not. As far as I'm concerned, if there's people out there going to Joe Rogan for medical advice, if we take Joe Rogan away, I guess they'll go ask, the town drunk what they should do. So I don't think you're going to help anybody. People who want to believe something are going to believe something, and anyone that thinks Joe Rogan's an expert, there's probably no helping them. So I don't think he should be silenced. And as far as the racist stuff that they're trying to go after him now, whenever they can't silence someone they disagree with on anything else, they'll try to make him sound like a racist. I might be wrong about this. If I am, please feel free to educate me. We do Slap the Yank every night if you want to come in and tell me I'm wrong. But the things I've seen him where he used the N-word, and I hate the word N-word because it's just as bad as the actual word, because you know what I'm saying. So if you ever called someone the N-word, just as bad as calling them the actual word. So I hate that word, and I hate giving it so much power by pretending it's something that can't be said. I don't think anyone should ever say it hatefully or in any way as a derogatory term towards anybody. Now, unless you're black, you can use it however you want. I don't care. But if you're another race, you shouldn't use the word just out of respect. But I do believe it can be used clinically. It can be used when you're examining the actual historical context of the word. When you're talking about how hateful of a word it is and why it is the way it is. I do believe it's okay to talk about it in that context. I've done it myself many times. And from what I've seen, that's what Joe Rogan was doing. When you look at it in context, he wasn't using it as a slur. He wasn't referring to anyone that way. He was examining the word and its power in society and using it in ways that are not particularly offensive because they weren't intended to be offensive. So I don't think he's a racist. But as far as just him being able to say what he wants to say, I think he should be able to. And I think it's up to you to validate information. If you're just going to believe stuff you want to believe, well, then that's on you. No matter who says it, you're going to believe it as long as it confirms your opinion. But like I said, when you get information you believe in, you should try even harder to disprove it, because that way you might find out you actually are right. So I say, let the Joe Rogans of the world have their say, and then start teaching people to be more educated consumers and validate things before you believe them. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I just want to remind everyone to always carry and stay safe until I see you again.